If you're feeling like buyers and sellers are more skeptical than ever, well, let me tell you, my friend, you are not alone. The market has shifted and we are living in very uncertain and unpredictable times. But there's one thing that is true, and it's that those real estate agents and professionals that earn the trust and build the relationship with those buyers and sellers in the marketplace will always thrive. And today is going to be a super exciting episode of Agents in the Trenches, where I'm bringing a national guest who is not only a rock star in real estate, she is a five-time icon producer. She is a powerhouse team leader, and she is leading the way in exactly this topic. How are we going to thrive when needing to move the needle forward, overcoming those objections, shattering that fear that we may feel when talking to buyers and sellers that are not, ready to move forward or presenting us with different challenges. And if you can identify with any of these things, then this is the episode for you to watch. In order to get started, I want to bring up my co-host and friend, John Collins, to join me here today. Hey, John, how are you? Welcome.
I'm doing good, Lucy. Congratulations. You've gone national. I love it. We've been talking about it for several months now.
John, I've learned that things take time, but I also believe in the suddenlies. And suddenly, when you least expect it, things come together. And yes, Agents in the Trenches has gone national, and I'm super excited to be able to bring a higher level of value and content to everyone. Introduce yourself. Tell everyone where you are joining us from.
Well, I'm in the Dallas, Texas area, and I'm with I own my own company, LeadX22, which is a software solution company for small businesses. So that includes real estate agents and home services and mortgage companies. I have history in the mortgage business, so I understand that business, and I kind of understand the whole layout of what goes on when you put that contract, you sign that contract and buy that house, and what all goes into it. So that's what I do. So I do reputation management. I help people maintain their reputation online so that they get more good reviews and more customers.
I love it. And that's what it's all about, right? Building that business through relationships with customers. And exactly, today we're going to be having a wonderful conversation with Jessica Nieto. And I am going to bring her on because I know people are wanting to hear, whether we're watching live or on replay. And of course, our audience on replay is way higher. We all want to know, okay, how am I going to overcome, this market shift? How am I going to, if it was tough before, how am I going to even be able to close more deals now? And she has developed a phenomenal science and art to this whole conversation. So let me bring her up. She is a wonderful, wonderful human that God has gifted me with meeting. Hello, Jessica. Welcome.
Hey, Lucy. Hey, John. Glad to be here. Super excited to share.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So listen, Jessica, you are a powerhouse team leader. You are a frontline leader, like I like to say. You are a five-time icon producer. I mean, you are someone that is in the trenches for sure. And I'm sure you're seeing how everything is a little bit different, but you have found a way to overcome, the skepticism, which is at an all-time high, the reluctantness of the buyers and the sellers. And I want you to take it away, introduce yourself, and start off this conversation. Tell everybody who you are, right? You know Jessica better than anyone else. And then let's kick off this conversation.
I love that, Lucy. You know you better than anyone. I love that. I hope so. So I'm Jessica Nieto. I am a human first. Second, I'm a team leader at eXp Realty, the Nieto Connect team out of Southern California. Been at eXp for 5 years, coming up in April. Super excited about that. And then in the business licensed since February of 2013. So been in the business long enough to kind of see some ebb and flow. And I'm just really excited to be here because I think this is one of the greatest conversations to be having, which is how can we be better every day? And that's directly tied to my success. Is like every day I still want to be better than the version of me yesterday. So I'm excited and proud of everyone that's joining the call to do that as well.
I love it. So I want to ask you a question. In today's market, agents are feeling the resistance of buyers and sellers. What have you found is the art or maybe the science of overcoming and helping the consumer move the needle to making that decision?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times it's not that they don't want to make a decision. A lot of times they're faced with having to make a decision, but people aren't afraid of the change. They're afraid of the transition. They don't know the process. So what I train my agents on and we focus on is number one, you want to handle objections before they actually come up, right? And when you're in conversation with people, you need to be leading with value, not tied to the outcome, but just tied to the process of coming from contribution, adding value. We are in a time where it may not necessarily be a better year this year. Last year was one of the hardest years in real estate, period. That's not my perception. It's literally a fact based on the data. So if you got through that year, you're licensed and you're still waking up, like back to the basics, doing the thing, getting into conversation with people, congratulations. It may not get easier unless you make some adjustments because it's there for the taking. We were in Dallas last week talking about how to cultivate belief. So we're focused on cultivating belief for ourselves, but are we helping our clients cultivate belief around what they want? So if they want to be in a better area or a better school district or a bigger house or whatever that is, you've got to show them that it's there for the taking, that they're capable of doing it. Let's break this down and slow down, actually. If it's there for the taking, meaning does the opportunity exist? Get some clarity around where they're going. Help them figure that out. If you want them to sell their house, they also have. So focus on that painful piece of where they'll be moving. Two, that they're capable of doing it. Make sure you're partnered with, really great solution partners like John or, whoever else Lucy recommends you to. She's got a great team that can help you understand the products that can make them capable of achieving what they want. And then three, that'll be worth the effort, right? And that's what Tom was talking about, how to cultivate real belief. Not just like, yeah, I think we can do it. Let's go, and drag you through a process. It's like, show them the way, and they'll be so committed that they'll trust you as a trusted partner and advisor to get them to the finish line.
One of the things that I love about you, Jessica, is that, and I was talking about this at Winners Wednesday's Productivity Bootcamp yesterday. There's a lot of people out there teaching the theory, but you are in the trenches. You are doing what you're telling your agents and us today to do, right? If you had to break it down, give us the first 3 steps to follow, because a lot of times people get lost in the process, right? So build that relationship, show that there is a way and a possibility, but break it down for us into bite-sized pieces.
Sure. And are we talking, like, give me an example, tell me a little bit more so I can make sure I frame it the way that's most helpful for your audience.
So, agents get a lot of phone calls, and a lot of people are looking into, I want to know about property XYZ. Give me the information. Or agents are out there door knocking with for sale by owners and expireds, right? Well, obviously, if there's a for sale by owner sign outside, these people are thinking of selling, but then they're not really wanting to work with an agent. So they're holding back from working with an agent, even though they want to sell the home. Or they're picking up the phone and calling an agent for information, but they don't want to commit to working with an agent and then moving into the contract process. So how does the agent, in small bite-sized pieces, prepare? Because I think preparation is everything. If I can simplify the question, how do I prepare? What are the first 3 things I need to do to be ready to develop that relationship with that customer and move them into trusting in me and knowing that I can help them?
Love it. Yeah. And I think that helps add clarity too, so that everyone understands. The one thing that Lucy just said right there is the number one thing that most people don't do: prepare. Sounds so simple, but number one is prepare. So congratulations, just setting that as a standard that we're all preparing. But what does preparation look like? That means before you go out and door knock, you're going to do your script practice. And remember that script practice is not about just memorization. We're not scripting the entire conversation all the way to the finish line. What we're doing is just getting accustomed to the words and the vocabulary and the things so that we can call upon them whenever we need them. But the true important thing about preparation is confidence, that we have confidence in what we're selling. I see a lot of real estate agents that have like bad relationships with money, bad relationships with, just believing the thing that they're selling, that they're out there to sell, which is themselves, but also the products that they're connecting consumers to, right? So you've got to believe that you can help this person get out of this house, get the house sold, and get them to where they want to go. So number one, you've got to prepare. Number two, you've got to build your confidence. And like the way I'm talking, if I were talking more like this, yeah, Lucy. So basically, like the first thing you want to do is you want to prepare for the listing appointment. Like, who would be listening right now that was excited about what Jessica's saying? So it's energy, right? So if you don't eat your breakfast, if you don't do your workout, if you don't go on your walk, if you're not kind to your family before you leave the house, you're not prepared to go out and talk to people at the door and get told no a billion times. So you've got to mentally prepare to be out prospecting, whether it's on the phone or in the field or open house or whatever that is. So you've got to get your energy up, because when you're in a relationship with a person or building rapport with a person, the exchange of energy is where you build rapport. You agreed? So you've got to, that to me is like, that's why a lot of agents, you'll see them come in and they're like, have no experience, but they're just a hustler and they've got energy and they've got a great personality and they go out and they crush it. And it's because they're doing the consistent actions and because they're bringing all of themselves there. The next thing was differentiate yourself. So if they're a for sale by owner or they're expired, there are other people talking to them. And the number one reason why you're going to get hired is not because, well, unfortunately, some agents get hired because they say the house could be sold, faster or higher or whatever. Those are gimmicky things, and that's why you have aged inventory on the market, right? With sellers with unreasonable expectations. So number one reason, because we ask everyone why they hire our team and why I personally sold 155 plus listings last year. So that's me, and then my team sold just over at 200. So for me, having conversations with people is, I'm not tied to whether or not they sell their house. I actually want to understand how I can help. And before I start talking a lot, first I'm going to seek out information about them so I understand them and who they are and where they're trying to go before I start spitting out a bunch of information and asking them to understand my process or my pitch or what I'm selling them. So just being a very curious person has been directly tied to my success. I'll give you an example. Can I tell a quick listing scenario?
Yes,
okay, stories are much better, right? So I'm going to give you an example. There was a listing or a seller, right? A group of sellers. There were like 6 or 7 family members that were going to be involved in hiring a realtor. They had an attorney. Their father had passed. To some of them, it was their grandfather. And they rented a conference space for $500 for 4 hours to interview. It was 5 or 6 agents that they were interviewing. Okay. I couldn't be there. So I asked them, could I have you all get out your computers and I can meet you on Zoom? They met all the other agents in person and interviewed them. They hired me.
Wow.
Couple reasons why they told me they hired me. One, I showed them the process. I told them what we were going to do to fix up their house because we went prior to the meeting and took a look at the property. And number 2 was, everything else that you said in terms of price and everything was pretty similar to everyone else. But 3, the reason why we hired you is because you were the only person that asked about our dad and our family.
Wow.
John, I mean, John's shaking his head too. I mean, it's simple. And agents ask me all the time, like, how do you list so many houses? How did you get here? How is it possible? Relationships, cultivating deeper connections with human beings. People like to be heard. They like to talk about themselves. They like to be seen, and they like to be made to feel human. Like,
wow.
Lucy, you and I don't even know each other that well.
No.
We've seen each other in person, I think twice, for like a total of 5 minutes. but we've conversed over the phone, but I'd call you a great friend because I know I can trust your energy, the impact that you make in the world, and just all of the great things that you bring into this industry. But that's just a mutual respect is really what it is.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's simple. So those are bite sized. And I know everyone's like, well, but where's the magic sauce? In this current state of the industry that we're in, with everything going on and so much information and nobody trusts any information, you can be that person. So where everybody else is out spending lots of money on leads and doing all these crazy things and their hair's on fire, the number one thing you could be doing for a very low budget is prospecting daily. So Lucy, you're talking about door knocking or FISBOs, but whatever it is, what you want to be doing is sharing good information. And if you haven't built trust yet, one of the things you can do is also provide that empirical data source when you're in conversation with people. So for example, if I said, John, I learned XYZ and the data I got was from Forbes, like Finance Council or something like that, people might say, oh, okay, interesting. Whereas if I just said, hey, John, I've never met you, and I think you should do XYZ, John would be like, okay, well, where'd she get that information from? So build authority around what you're saying by using data sources. That's super helpful. Also, when people say no, there's a couple things that you want to pivot away from. One is a really great book and a really great human being, Chris Voss, CHRISVOSS. He wrote a book, Never Split the Difference. Super funny short story. One of my agents, she's in Arizona actually now, but she said, hey, I had my boyfriend also read the book. We've now listened to it twice on Audible. And we were at the golf place last week, and he used a no question instead of a yes question. We got 30% off. So it's funny, you can apply these principles everywhere in your life. But the point of this one is get better at communicating, get better at building rapport. You can look outside of the industry, focus less on what you're going to say, focus more on how you say it, and you'll get really far.
Wow. John, what do you think? I mean, this is a rock star powerhouse team leader. Not only is she leading a powerhouse team that closed hundreds of transactions, she's doing it herself. So, I mean, she is practicing what she preaches.
Well, every time I come up with something to say, she always talks about it, and then it goes. Then I don't have to say it.
I love that, John.
So, yeah, that's right. That's right. I think relationships, like Jessica said, is number one important. The other thing that strikes me, or that I remember in all my years of training, is ask more questions than you talk. Ask a question, be quiet.
2 ears, 1 mouth.
And listen, and then they will tell you everything you need, including objections, if you just let them talk. And so Jessica's spot on. Lucy, you and I have talked about it before, that there's just basic principles in business, and I don't care what business you're in, but they apply to all of us in every business.
And don't tell people they're wrong, right? That's a big one. You know, and I think that a lot of people, when they think about objections, and I'm just speaking generally, maybe some of you all are pros, but again, we're all trying to be better every day. When you hear an objection, you don't want to immediately tell them that they're wrong. Well, actually this. Ask them to tell you more about that.
Yeah.
Right?
Why do you feel that way?
Yep. Why do you feel that way? Oh, I'm interested. And remember, don't say, I understand, or I know. You say, that's right. John even said that. Like, that's right. And Chris Voss trains a lot about that. So rather than saying, it's, for example, like if somebody says, hey, you know, this happened to me, it's really tragic. Oh, I know how you feel. You're kind of stealing away that opportunity to really connect with that person, because they're like, oh, okay, well, how do you, now you've taken away, like, this energy exchange just kind of dissipates.
But that's where your practice comes in, Jessica, because we all have a tendency to react instead of train ourselves what to say in that case. And so you're right. Yeah. Strategic
empathy. So write that down. Strategic empathy is something that we have to continue to be better at in our marriages, in our friendships, in our interactions with consumers, just on a daily basis. Like if we're more strategic with the empathy that we have with ourselves and others, we will definitely get better at everything in sales. So
Wow. I wanna talk a little bit more about the part you said, building that relationship. You got hired, and for those that are watching, I mean, feel free to drop your questions. I mean, right now we're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, so I know we're gonna have a lot of people watching on replay, and people watch us from all over different parts of the United States and Latin America. But I want to come back and talk about the deeper connection and that, I mean, you said you got hired because out of other listing agents or realtors, you're the only one that asked about the father in that family. And when you talked about deeper connections, I want you to tell us how we're going to do that. But I'm going to take 30 seconds to give a little shout out to our premier partner. I'm actually going to bring him on. We have a wonderful gentleman that is one of our premier partners. And I want to introduce him also to everyone on Agents in the Trenches and kind of get him into the conversation as well for a little bit. So give us 1 second and my team will go ahead and put his promo. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, Chris Larson, Edge Home Finance. We're independent mortgage brokers with over 100 lenders. We've got every program imaginable. I've got 18 years of experience. Hablo español también. Échame un grito, 612-227-4129. Thank you.
All right. Well, I'd like to bring up Christopher Larson, who is in Minnesota right now. Hey, Christopher, can you hear us? How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Lucy? Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, flight got canceled yesterday. About 8 inches of snow here, so came up for an event and didn't make it back yet. Be back there tomorrow.
Well, welcome. Thank you so much. We wanted to give you a shout out. You have been someone that has trusted. Jessica, we're going to talk about this as well. And Christopher, you've been listening to us in the green room. We're talking about, how do you overcome the objections, skepticism of buyers and sellers? And Jessica saying, go deeper on relationships. Build that relationship and that trust. And of course, you've trusted the Academy and became one of our premier partners. And so I just introduce yourself to everyone. Tell everyone a little bit about what you do here in Southwest Florida and in Minnesota and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, you guys just saw that video. I made that real quick. I didn't know how it looked online. You're going to get a better quality one real quick here. I'm going to redo that one. But 18 years experience. We're the largest now. I guess we're the largest independent broker in the country, Edge Home Finance. We got over 150 lenders that we work with. Got everything. We can qualify you with bank statements. We can qualify investors with just the cash flow from the rental property they're buying. Hard money, commercial. Tenemos préstamo ITIN para la gente que cuente con su número ITIN. I speak Spanish as well. We basically have everything, and I've got 19 years of experience now. I'm licensed in Florida as well as Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then California. Don't do a lot of business in California. It's sort of a madhouse out there, but Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Florida. Yeah, Jessica, my condolences. But yeah, it's treated me well, and the premier partnership with Lucy has worked out real well. We just started out at the beginning of the year, and already got we had our first closing, I think this week, Monday of this week.
That's Monday, yes, already.
Yep.
Not bad.
Got another one next week, and I think I've got another contract coming in today for a third one. So we've got stuff moving forward.
We're rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Jessica, you are the rock star here today, and I can't thank you enough, even though like you said, we've met each other twice, but there's been that connection, right? There's been that energy. Tell all of us, because these principles are universal. I mean, they work for John in the marketing world. They work for Christopher in the mortgage world. Obviously, they work for me in the real estate industry and the multiple companies that I run. Trust, building that deeper relationship, because I think that we get so into the sales part of what we do that we miss out on the human connection. Break it down for us a little more, because I know you are a whiz at that.
Yeah, I'll say too. We were just on a call. EXP brought John Cheplak in to train and coach with us, and he was saying, don't be a salesperson, be a marketer. Marketer is where you're going to win. So I'm sure that I'm sure you agree with that, John. So what does that mean? What does that mean for me? It's in every way that you connect or reach out or market to someone, be human, right? Don't be so salesy. In fact, they've done the data on even YouTube channels, for example. Previously, it was like the polished, beautiful videos, and you see all these fancy realtors with their cars, and they get out of the fancy car and like walk up to the property. Like, people don't want to see that. They're human, and they want to see like raw stuff. That's why TikTok went off, right? They just want to see like it because what happens is. And he said this earlier, and what he was training on, it just hit me. What a great way to articulate it is everything that you're doing in front of one-to-one, because that's your number one thing you want to be doing. But even in your marketing, like your emails, your social posts, like, does the consumer feel better after they consume what you're putting in front of them than they did before?
Yeah.
That's super simple, right? And translate that into everything you do. So if you're in front of someone, in front of their house, number one, before they open the door, what were they doing? Yelling at the kids, making dinner, rushing out of the house. Like, know that when they open the door, it's a privilege to have the opportunity to be one-on-one. So what are you trying to, you're already in front of them. Many people sit at their house all day behind a computer and figure out how they're going to get in front of human beings. If you're knocking doors or you're at open house, you're controlling the environment at an open house, which is why we're big on those. But if you're in front of their house, get to know them, because the power of reciprocity will be there if they feel that you are a human that cares, that's adding value to them. The next step will be like, how can I help you? They may not say it in this scenario, but if you're coming from value. So let me give you an example. You're talking to a FISBO, just give it all away. Who cares? Because guess what? No one else is. They're going to covet their marketing plan. They're going to covet everything. Hey, would it be helpful to you for me to come out to your open house, or do an open house for you? Or let me just give you my entire open house plan. This is how you should structure the open house. They're like, oh, nobody else gave me anything. They're all just wanting to sign a listing agreement before they'll tell me anything. Bring them an updated CMA. If somebody says, I'm not really interested in selling right now, say, well, not ever or not right now. Because what I specialize in my favorite is to build long-lasting relationships. So if we stay in connection with each other, I know that I'd love to sit down for 30 minutes and just show you what that would look like. So in the future, when you do look at selling, you're going to be an expert at knowing how to take the first step. It's a no-brainer. Then they could say yes or no to you. And again, if we start asking no questions, I'm going to add an example into there of what we talked about, which is, would it be crazy if we sat down for 30 minutes and talked about how this could help you in the future? You see how that's easier to say no? Because the fear doesn't come in. Oh, if I sit with them for 30 minutes and I say yes, what are they going to make me do? They're not thinking about all that, right? Or you're in front of the house and, well, no, I'm kind of busy right now. I can't really talk. I got someone showing up for an appointment and I'm working from home, so I can't talk right now. Okay, would it be crazy for me to add you to my weekly market update and to get back in touch with you? No, that's fine. Okay, perfect. Let me just grab your email and phone number real quick so I can get back in touch. Wow. Isn't that easier for them to say no than yes?
And I've got one other suggestion. If you don't get anywhere, then ask them, is there anyone else that could use
That's the close, baby.
Exactly.
Yeah. In fact, we've been calling seniors, and we never lead with just an appointment. We're actually asking them, hey, we're calling around in our community and wanted to know if you're looking for any type of vendor. We have a great vendor list and a great network of trusted professionals, and we just want to make sure, as your local realtor, that we can connect you with that list. Would that be helpful to you? And they're like, that right there, they're like, okay, they led with value. Then we start building the rapport. We're talking. And in general, I will tell you, and I mean, anyone senior at home that's retired doesn't mind talking on the phone, especially if they're talking about themselves.
Watch those seniors, because they will talk to
I
your
know,
ear
but
off.
but here's the deal. So what we're doing is, if they're like, I'm never selling, I'm staying in this house till, it's forever. That's okay. That's fine. But guess what? If this person likes you, why would you hang up? Not a seller. No. So what we do is we send them thank you notes for taking the time to call. We ask if we can stay in touch with them, and then we offer for them to get back in touch with us if there's anything they need, from a party planner, this, that, and the other. And then we talk about how they can refer us. Hey, if you have a kid, daughter, friend, neighbor that even says the word high school graduation, kid, anything else, I would love if you could support us in connecting, so we could provide them a great experience.
Yep.
And they're like, okay, yeah, maybe,
Yep. If they're gonna have a baby, they need a bigger house, right? So a baby, when it comes, expansion. Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. What do you think, Christopher? Want to chime in real quick? What do you think? I mean, this applies to all of us, because so many of us walk around just focusing on what we do instead of focusing on how can I serve the person that's in front of me. I love something
how do you build that trust, Chris, when you first talk to somebody?
Well, you don't, you're not just calling to get their W-2s, their pay stubs, their bank statements, those things. You call and really, I'm always leading with, let's say Lucy refers me to someone, they'll generally intro with like a group text, and hey, I want to introduce you to John. He's looking to buy a house, etc. And then I'll text back, when's a good time to call. I give them a call and I just say, hey, Lucy in this text, the only thing she had said was, you're interested in buying a house. So do you want to tell me a little bit about where you're at now, if you already own a house, what kind of house are you looking for, what neighborhood, etc. Then you just let them talk. You just let them go, and then you play off of whatever they're telling you. You understand where you're coming from. I try not to get obviously into anything as far as the real estate, but it's a way to start a conversation, find things in common that you have with them. Oh, we want to live in this neighborhood. Oh, okay, I love that pizza place. You know what I mean? Just little things where you okay, and then you get into, oh, where do you work? Oh, do you know this guy? He works there. Yeah, I did a loan for him. You just sort of continue to sort of have a conversation while you're getting the information you need.
Love that.
You just let it go as long as they want to talk. Do you like your job? Or tell me what you do. If not, a lady who was a food scientist, I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Tell me what that is.
Tell me more.
And
you said something, Jessica, that I think is powerful, as what Christopher is sharing with us, how he connects with the person, and we all have our way of connecting with the person. But tell us again, you were and I've known John Cheplack since 2015. Like, if I showed you the first video I took of John Cheplack in 2015 when he was just getting started, I actually met him when I had my Century 21 company. This man has definitely been transformed by the process that he's followed and the process that he teaches. You were saying, he said, give it all away. Give it all away because no one else is. I think we need to deliver that message. Let me tell you, I am a firm believer of that. I've been hearing him say, make daily deposits into other people's lives. And I can tell you, even when you're giving it away, people are still distrusting because they're thinking you're going to like bait and switch them. Mm-hmm. Like, I am doing the only productivity boot camp every Wednesday without fail. I am committed to serving my real estate agent community. And I have people that don't show up, but then they'll message me and they'll say, that looks like so much fun, but is it okay for me to go? I'm like, how else can I tell you that I'm here to help you?
People don't get it. And I think he had on one of his slides, it was, you are coaching everyone if you're in front of people every day. Some are paying and some are not, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And when you're very intentional about how you're building your business, you don't want to work with everyone anyway. right?
Right.
And
Yes.
so the more you are yourself everywhere you show up, from your social platform to, write your own copy, to in front of someone in real life, to on the phone, the more you are of yourself, the more you will attract that customer that you want to work with versus people that you don't want to work with. So you have to be really intentional with
well,
that.
and there's something, and of course, Chris and I got into the mortgage business back in about the same time period. But your client has to believe that you have their best interest in mind. And I don't know how Chris does it, but I would always tell my clients, because Chris, I'm sure you've lost some deals, and I lost deals over the years. But I always tell them, bring me the paperwork from the other lender, and if you have a good deal, I will tell you, take that deal.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden they go, really? Yeah, really?
I'll translate that into real estate because I love that.
Do.
So this isn't a trick, but it is, again, we're not tied to the outcome. We're tied to the process of this long-term relationship and really actually caring for the person. So I'll just one example of last week. There's a listing going on the market this week. One of my agents went to the listing appointment and showed up with the comps to show them what they could rent it for, and got an estimate on what the percentage of property management costs would be. And then suggested to them, let's at least look at you keeping this property. You're moving out of state, but maybe not forever. And what would that look like? And also talk to the lender in advance to prepare to provide that breakdown. And if it's possible for them to keep the property, leverage, and go buy another one in another state for a few years. And guess what? They decided, no, that didn't work for them. But how much more do you trust a person when they say, maybe I shouldn't list your house for sale? Because in the long term, this is going to help you build wealth, not just get the money out to go buy that house. Yeah. And that alone, I mean, I've talked to realtors that literally have become realtors just because people would tell them things aren't possible. Mm-hmm. They get pissed off, excuse my French, but they're like, who are you to tell me I can't do this? It seems possible. I'm gonna change the paradigm and improve the industry by getting into it, because I want to be one more person that tells you, we'll look at what's best for you, not for me. I love that.
Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I can't see Chris because my camera's blocking. Sorry, Chris.
I was going to comment on what you had said. Since rates started to go up in 22, from 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 and whatever. I get a lot of calls about people wanting to do a cash out refinance, and it's like, no, you want a home equity line of credit behind your 3.1% mortgage, and we offer HELOCs, but guess what? The local credit union has a better deal than we do. Yeah. And I just say, no, you don't. Guess what? You don't want to work with us on this one. This is who you want to call.
Exactly.
Same thing with the electricians union, that IBEW. They've got a great credit union. Somebody comes to me and they're in that union, I'd say, go to your credit union first, see what they can do for you. Come back to me, let me look at it. And generally, they're just killing it. I mean, it's got to be some sort of thing that's subsidized by those union fees. I'm not sure how it works, but it's just great. And
but we're talking all about building that trust. And you know what? You may not get paid today off that trust, but you might get paid 2 or 3 years from now off that trust.
Yep.
And so that's really what it's all about. And it goes back to what Jessica started with, which it's relationships.
It is. 100. Jessica, how do you get your agents? Because I'm sure this is a universal dilemma for anyone leading humans, right? Humans are not the easiest to train and teach and lead always, right? We've all been that human at some point in our life that we were not as coachable as we are now, or as trainable as we may be now. So talk to us a little bit about the real, raw realities of when you're talking to an agent, right? You said earlier, you got to role play. People know the difference. You gave us an example about talking deflated, like, I'd like to help you. I'm really good at what I do. If you want to buy or sell your home, I'm your agent. And you're like, oh my goodness. I can't even trust myself to say it some type of conviction. Like, girl, I was the one that faked it till I made it. I mean, I would.
Same.
You guys want to hear the funniest story? I'm gonna tell you guys the craziest story that forever. I was brand new in the business. I went to the Mike Ferry training, productivity school. Oh my goodness, I had to make it. Like I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it, but I have to make it. I've got two little kids. I'm brand new to the area. Nobody knows me. I'm gonna die. Like I'm gonna die. I'm making no money. Long story short, productivity school at Mike Ferry, you're doing all the scripts and dialogues. I show up at this couple's, mature couple's home. They're Italian. And the script was, right, because my Spanglish got into my brain. So the script was, would you rather me be honest with you now and tell you what it'll take to get the property sold at the right price? Or would you prefer me to have to come back and beat you up on the price later to bring it down? I was so nervous. You know what I told the gentleman? The wife was like in the kitchen, right? And I go, I'd rather tell you the truth now instead of having to come later to bang you to lower the price. I'm like, I'm sorry, I meant beat you up to the, and they were cracking up. I'm like, oh Lord. I'm like, I could not believe I said that.
You meant it what you said though. Oh my goodness. That
happened to me. So listen, if anybody talks about you don't have to role play, you have to role play. But how do you get past the psychology of agents that want to practice with the customers instead of practicing and role playing? Because they're not. I would say 99% of professionals don't role play their stuff. How do you get to do it?
Well, I actually see it a little bit different. The lens that I see it through is that we've got to do the reps, because through the mistakes we learn the most. And I think just like your scenario is a perfect example of a story where people were going to give you grace. I've got a lot of investors that will tell me the reason why they hire the young agent that doesn't have a lot of experience is because they're hungry, because they have heart, because they hustle. And that's the type of salesperson they want. The rest of the stuff I always say to my agents is that you just have to be resourceful until you're the resource. And most of us never become the resource, right? So it's not like I'm spitting out NAR data every day, or I'm spitting out like, where the interest rate's going to go. Like I'm not in charge of any of that stuff. I'm just here to be resourceful and plug you in and connect you to the people, the resources, the products, and the open up your mind a little bit to see what's possible. That's it. And then we transact, which is the commodity part, right? I'm a commodity if I only help people transact, but I have a lot more value and they'll always choose me and my team if I'm more than that commodity, which is the connector, right? So for new agents, I would say if you're a team leader is you want to make calls with them. Again, back to John, but it's like, do you want to show them? Do you want to teach them? Do you want to, what is it? Do you want to teach them? Hold on. Teach them, train them, or show them. Like you want to show people, right? You want to show people who you are. So for me, I will do active calls. I've done with a couple of my agents and a group of agents this week where we get on the phone and we talk about the avatar of the person that they're going to be speaking to. We talk about what the potential objections would be, and then we get into dialing. And one of the top things that agents will say is like, yeah, but it's just so easy for you. You've been doing it for so long. I've just been messing it up for a long time and getting better every day. Right.
Look at me. I almost banged somebody to lower the price.
Right. But you got to build the parachute once you're out of the plane, right? And so if you keep waiting, that like 11th hour syndrome of like, well, I'll just start, trying as soon as I'm perfect at it, you're going to find out that once you try it, you're going to do it a little bit differently anyway the next day. So the quicker you get into the implementation and taking action is where you're going to learn and grow and get better. So if you don't get started, hopefully you don't mess it up as bad as Lucy did. But
oh my gosh, I know, right? It doesn't get worse than that. Hey, but it gives me a funny story to tell now.
That's so good.
Oh my God, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. I mean, you can't download that from YouTube. You gotta live it, right? You gotta live it. So, Christopher, I don't want to keep you. You want to share any closing words? I know you're in Minnesota. You're in the middle of your work day. Any closing words for the audience? We're so happy to have you here. And
No, I appreciate the opportunity to be on. And Jessica, I appreciate your comments. I like your there was a few things there that I really gained insight from. I'm gonna get that Never Split the Difference book. And take a look at that, because that approach it with a no question is a great strategy.
Agreed.
So,
awesome.
likewise, John, thanks for your insight. And Lucy, I will see you next week.
I know you are going to be joining me today for my graduation of my students that are getting their real estate license. They're graduating today, but we're going to miss you. We'll do it next time.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
Take care.
Take care, Chris.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen, we got to wrap this up. I want to respect your time, Jessica. What else do you want to tell the audience? I mean, there's so many agents out there struggling. There's so many agents that want to make it and they're not closing deals. And I love the fact that you have the trajectory of closing hundreds and hundreds of deals and helping people close hundreds of deals. What do you think is the biggest takeaway people need to focus on from today's conversation?
I would say this many years in the business, the same thing applies to me, is that you have to stick with the basics that got you into success. So if there's a specific pillar or prospecting strategy, whatever that is, you need to stick with it and get it successful before you start chasing so many things. Don't give up. Don't try something, not get results for a few weeks, and then totally give up. Like, you've got to go all in. And once you get a little bit of success, don't let that ruin you, because what can happen is then you stop to grow, right? And then you just only that good at it and you keep doing it a certain way. Instead, like, really inspect your performance and, of course, measuring it and all those, keep KPIs and stuff, but look at your performance and say, how can I do that a little bit better? If open houses are your strategy, you're like, well, only 5 people came, only 1 person came. Maybe you're picking the wrong house, the wrong neighborhood, the wrong price point. Really inspect, where can I get better? Where are the things that are driving me nuts? What went well, but what went well can also be better. So don't plateau at like where you are. Inspect everything and figure out how you could get even better. That'd be the best advice I could give.
And as you're speaking, I'm sure John can also attest to this. I feel your heart speaking. You are not just speaking words. You're speaking an essence. Like I saw you looking into the camera. I saw you probably even thinking about that agent that's out there struggling, because it's painful. It's painful when
I got the goosebumps. It is. And that's the part where you've got to be in community. I think that's even just as important. Like, Lucy, you've created this amazing community for people to choose to be successful. Everything is there for the taking for them, but they've got to plug in, they've got to do the work, they've got to ask for help, and they've got to accept the help, and they've got to show up, right? So stay in touch with Lucy and what she's doing. I mean, you're just bringing massive value, Lucy. I really appreciate it.
Girl, I love you. I love your heart. I love
you back.
Your willingness to make an impact. I love and I want you to let me tell you, she just does not sell hundreds of houses in real estate. You lead organizations in EXP. You are a frontline leader. Before I let you go, I want you to give yourself the accolades you deserve, because you are running groups, you're running events, you're doing your podcast. Tell everybody about your podcast, how they can connect with you. Tell everybody about you.
Okay. So Facebook is the best way to find me. I don't know if I date myself. Instagram, I'm building the followers there, but you can find me by just typing in Jessica Nieto. I post consistently. So I'm the type of poster, if something comes to mind and it was helpful and useful to me or someone next to me, I want to put it out and share with all of you. My podcast, we're going to be launching season 2 here coming up in the next week or so. But it's called the Reveal Podcast, which I've got my little poster I made this poster on Canva, had it printed and put in a light box. It's reveal, inspire, and impact. Those are my 3 words for the year. And I just believe, like, reveal everything you're doing to everyone you meet. Inspire, not to just like create short-term inspiration, but like really a lasting impact on someone. And so same thing with you, Lucy, like whether or not I've got the energy today, I'm going to show up with everything because I don't want to take up space, right? And I'm saying give everything away for free, but I want to add the context that when you give everything away for free, people will, there's the power of reciprocity. They will want to give back to you. And so when they ask you, but Lucy, how can I help you? You have to be prepared to tell them how, or you have to showcase how it is that people can help you. That's like a simple signature line. I love referrals. Where does that come from? So people understand how they can help you and how they can support you. So I'm easy to get in touch with. I love to connect with agents. I'll be pushing you right back to Lucy though, because I think that what you've created, Lucy, is like, it's a end to end, how to get in, how to create success, and like graduate to a place where you've built enough confidence and skill to get started. So I think it's fantastic.
Thank you, my love. I appreciate that. And let me tell you, you are the pioneer on taking us national. We had Rebecca Soto last week, and I brought her on because after that mastermind in Dallas, I shared with her, I said, John told me, why are you not national? And I'm like, I don't know, but you're right. Let's do this. So she came on last week because Rebecca Soto, she is all over the nation and she has a servant heart, but you are the pioneer. You are the first. You are the one.
Awesome. Thanks, Lucy. Appreciate you.
Call us, girl. I'm in Florida and you're in California. We just like covered the US of A, baby.
That's right. I love it. And great to meet you, John. It's been fantastic to have to interact with you.
Let me kind of fill in something here I think is real exciting, because Lucy and I started talking about this national thing. And so she's not only going national, but she's going online. And you were talking about belonging to a community. And now Lucy has an online community, and she's beginning to put her courses in there that now you can take the courses, and the community has an area where you can ask questions of other realtors. So
I love that.
If anybody is interested in joining that community, just leave us a comment and we'll send you a link to it. There's no charge to join the community.
There's a lot of free resources as well. Yes.
Yeah. And that's how exciting it is for what Lucy's doing. It's amazing. I just stand in awe of Lucy. That's
listen, and talking about being, what did you say? Humanizing yourself, right? Like John says, being human. You guys go look at my stories. I looked like a hot mess this morning, and then all of a sudden I went into a coughing attack, and I'm like, I'm gonna post it because that's just me,
People love it. Yeah,
that's just me. That's Lucy.
Authentic.
Yes. Jessica, God bless you, my love. Thank you so much. I appreciate you greatly. I wish you nothing but the best, the most success to you, your team, and everything you're doing. And I hope this is not the first and last time that we have you here on Agents in the Trenches.
Anytime. Thanks again. Appreciate you so much. Bye-bye, friend.
Bye-bye. Well, John, hey, we went coast to coast, literally.
Yeah.
So this has been a tremendous blessing. Thank you so much for running alongside me and pushing, encouraging me. And hey, we're just warming up.
I love it because you take ideas and you run with them, and that's exciting.
Thank you so much. And to everyone that's watching, go follow Jessica Nieto. I tagged her in the comments. Learn from her, grab onto her coattail. She is a powerhouse team leader. She is a servant leader as well. And, we will see you on the next episode, which is going to be extremely exciting as well. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.